Oh man, all right. Hard to say much at all, obviously. First thing I want to do is congratulate Arizona. They played tough the whole weekend. Obviously, we jumped on that first game, but they have a really good team. They're extremely well coached. They found a way to win that game, so I want to congratulate them. I told them how hard it is to get out there, when they get out there to soak it in and enjoy it. So I have written on my game card a Bible verse that I look at all the time, so I'm going to revert to that. I'm not a very emotional person, so I may get a little emotional today because that's a special team in there. It just says, be thankful in all circumstances, which can be extremely difficult to do. But that's what I'm going to hold on to and cling to, because that's just a really special group in there. And to see them hurting, obviously, is the reason for the tears. And I apologize for those. But I've been a player, been a coach a long time. Sports will rip your heart out sometime. But what I'm most thankful for, and what our staff is most thankful for, is how our players played, how they conducted themselves the entire season. They have nothing at all to hang their heads about. They represented this university, they represented our program in an absolute first-class manner. Our staff, our job as coaches was extremely easy this season because of the leadership we have in that locker room and the work that the players put in. And the longer you coach, the more you should realize it's completely and only about your players. So, I'm extremely heartbroken for them. Selfishly heartbroken because I don't get to put this uniform on with them again and take them to the College World Series. But they have so much to be proud of. They should walk out of here. We define success as a team doing the best you can do with what you have, and every single one of those guys has done that.
Questions? Adam first.
Scott, obviously the double play ball in the eighth inning turned out to be a costly mistake. What did you see there in terms of why that happened, and did you have any words for Van de Break afterward?
Yeah, no player. I remind myself this all the time because when you play, you never make a mistake on purpose, obviously. And our middle infield has been phenomenal. Ball just bounced up on him. Obviously, he tried to make the play. We just have a next play mentality, and the fact that we got out of it with 2 mistakes and still had a chance says a lot about our team. But I just hurt for the player always. Because nobody's perfect, and man, they've been so good. But the only word of advice was just move on.
Ryan Lynch, obviously, fantastic today. Can you just speak to his growth this season?
Yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal. He was the reason we were in the position we were in. He had complete control of the game. He was attacking the strike zone. Coach Gaines and him had a great game plan. He was executing the pitches Coach Gaines was calling. He had great mound presence. And it did surprise me, honestly, because he's had those big starts and he's been so good for us the last 2 times.
Jaden and Grace.
Did you think about going to Knapp or DeCaro, in the 8th inning to try and get y'all out of it, put all the chips on the table sort of thing?
DeCaro threw less than Knapp. They both were available in a certain situation, but not in that situation. We had to have late, maybe the 9th inning. You have to keep the health. Both those guys are going to be big leaguers. Aiden, a little less wear and tear. And we also know how all of our guys recover, so you have to take that into account. And no doubt in my mind it was the right move with Aiden. He just left one changeup up, the other changeup, got a swing and miss, and you need to change up against that guy. He's a heck of a hitter.
Grace.
Coach, can you just talk about, this season with this group of veterans like Alex and Jackson, Jake, Hunter, how's that been?
Phenomenal. I mean, you know, you hope you're surrounded by kids that you love being around every single day. And, you know, this group, I mean, there wasn't a day that I wasn't smiling and having a blast, and that was because of them.
Adam and Tom.
Scott, did you think about leaving Lynch in the eighth inning? I know he was getting, his pitch count was getting up a little bit, but he had rolled the ball that
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, was that a
Absolutely.
hard decision for you to make?
No, you know, his velocity was dropping pretty good. He still had sink on the ball. And we knew they were gonna bunt right there. And that's something that Ryan has to get much better on. Hunter made a really good play on the bunt, or the swinging bunt earlier. So we also know our pitchers, who's good at hopping off the mound, who's better at fielding their position. And 100% they were gonna bunt. And Walker's one of our best fielders on PFP and bunts. And, you know, the hitter dropped down a good bunt, and Gavin makes that play in his sleep, and unfortunately, we just didn't make it.
Tommy.
Alex, I know it's fresh, but just the journey. Baseball is a cruel sport, but your journey here at Carolina has been pretty special.
Yeah, you know, obviously just super thankful for the opportunity to play here, and you know, I mean, that's pretty much all I can say. Is just thankful for the opportunity. I mean, the fans, coaching staff, players, you know, it's just everybody in between. I mean, just so thankful.
Ryan.
Alex, can you talk about your kind of immediate emotions, your actions following the game, and kind of conversations you've had with the teammates?
You know, haven't had many conversations yet. Trying not to, honestly. But you know, obviously sad. Don't know if that's your last game playing baseball ever. You know, just kind of a lot of emotions.
Alex, if you can speak to it, could you just talk about what you were seeing on those balls in the eighth inning, those errors?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it happens. It's the game of baseball. You know, it is what it is. Obviously, any one of those guys wants to make the play, want to be the guy. You know, I had an opportunity in the eighth inning to, you know, hit in a run, and I didn't do it either. So, you know, obviously, everybody wants to be, you know, that guy to do it. But, you know, things happen, and it's the way it went.
Anybody else? Adam, then Rod.
Rod can go if he wants to. I mean, I've got two.
Go ahead, Adam.
For both of you guys, just, again, I know it's very fresh, but the journey as a whole for this team after replacing the entire outfield from the College World Series team last year, I mean, you know, there's so many differences, but you're right here on the doorstep of getting back there. Just, I mean, what can you speak to the journey that this group has been on, just for both guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously every journey is different, but it's so much fun. You know, you create a bond and a brotherhood with these guys, and you know, I go to battle with these guys any day of the week. You know, obviously we came up short today, but you know, I don't think that shows, you know, the work we put in all season to get to this point. You know, obviously the goal is to get to Omaha and win that national championship, but you know, we just came up a little short.
Yeah, I would just say again, thankfulness. Just it's one of our pillars. You know, just thankful to even be in this opportunity. It sucks and it hurts when you don't take the next step, but you want to be in those opportunities. And Carolina baseball has been a lot of them. Been in a lot of them, won a lot of them. We've lost some tough ones. But the journey, you know, the joy of coaching to me is helping the team that you have that year have the most success they can possibly have, because every team is different. And to see these guys with what you said about some of the losses, start figuring out what their identity was, playing to those strengths, and being so coachable is why they made it this far.
Last one, Rod.
Scott, eighth inning aside, what were some of the other differences you noticed as far as throughout the game that couldn't quite get y'all over?
Yeah, you know, we had some chance to add to our lead. You know, unfortunately, a couple double plays. And again, that's the game of baseball. You got to capitalize, and the team that capitalizes the most usually comes out on top. I thought both teams were having really competitive at-bats. I thought our guys were having great at-bats, one after the other. Hit a couple balls hard that didn't find the grass, unfortunately. And sometimes you need, you know, when you get in those situations, you can add one more or add two more. The more length you get, the harder it is in the other dugout. So it wasn't just the mistakes on defense. It was you win as a team and you lose as a team, and unfortunately we lost as a team.
Thank you, gentlemen.